Road trip adventure. We hiked higher and higher up the path through the lush green forest. The smell of moss combined with the slowly fading away rumble of water crashing over rocks and panoramic mountain views made it feel like I'm in another world. I find myself imagining that I'm walking through the mythical landscapes of movies like Avatar and Lord of the Rings. My skin is coated with a slick sheen of sweat from our vigorous pace, but I feel great. Years of weightlifting, running, and mountain biking, combined with nutritious food, has turned my body into a lean machine. I glance behind me to check my buddy Cameron and Cromer, a golden retriever, are keeping up. They are both panting from the ascent, but otherwise look good. A short while later, we sense that we have almost made it to our goal. As we make the final push and climb over the last rocky hill on our way, we are awestruck by the sight before us. Massive, rocky cliffs jut up surrounding a deep blue mountain lake. Early August snow from the mountains is melting and making its way down to the lake in hundreds of miniature rivers, producing a soothing sound to add to the sight before us. We take as many pictures as we can, but the pictures just don't do it justice. I try hard to capture the beauty into my memories before heading back down to the mountain onto my next adventure. We left at mid-morning from my house and got onto I-90, heading west on our great cross-country road trip adventure. The trip had been planned months ago when Cameron, my best friend from Whitewater, was still studying abroad in Australia. We both have a taste for adventure and travel, so one day over a Skype call, we said, what the heck, let's do a road trip this summer. So we set out on the road with just a little bit of clothes, 2 coolers packed with healthy food, and a hunger to explore the world. Our excitement was dimmed, however, by the monotonous country around us for the next 12 hours. There was nothing worth stopping for until we got to western South Dakota. There we spent half a day hiking and exploring the Badlands National Park. We started to look out over the vistas and sandstone canyons along the road, but we wanted to get off the tourist path and stretch our legs. Cameron and I are both health nuts, and we made sure to stop off every day on the road to do at a trail or a park or something to do some push-ups, pull-ups, sprints, run, and hikes. In addition to help us stay fit, the activity really helped us be less stir-crazy in the car the rest of the day. Anyways, back to the Badlands. Once we got out and onto some trails, there wasn't another soul around. We hiked and climbed for a few hours, but the abundance of watch for rattlesnakes signs and 100-degree and climbing heat, we decided it was probably a good idea to go back to the car. We pulled into a rest stop late at night in Butte, Montana. We decided to just sleep in the car on the trip to save money on hotels. Besides, we were spending 4 or 5 days at his sister's once we got to Seattle, so that would give us a good break to rest and recharge. Plus, sleeping in the car adds to the whole roughing it, poor college student western adventure element. We washed up at the rest stop and settled in our seats for the night. I had just closed my eyes when I heard a knock on the window, which was rolled down a few inches. Confused, I looked up to see a dirty, rough, hippie-looking man tapping his knuckles on the glass, with his face about a foot from mine. For whatever reason, and I can't remember why, I opened my door to talk to the shady character in the middle of the night. His first question was, "You kids got any pot?" Cameron and I looked at the man, who was now leaning in the door, with his alcohol breath and stench permeating the car, and we prepared to go into attack mode at any moment. Cameron answered his question saying, "No man, we don't have any pot. We're not into that." The man stood up and said, "What's the matter with you? If you were my kids, I would smack you." He chuckled to himself and added again, "I'd smack you for not smoking pot. What kind of 20-year-old kids are you?" He pestered us for quite a while longer before wandering off into the woods around the rest stop building. We never saw where he went into the woods and never saw him again. It was here, about midway through Montana, that the view started getting more beautiful. Cameron was doing most of the driving, and I was content to just look out the window at the blue sky and green mountains in the distance, pondering life. Our next stop of interest was Coeur d'Alene in northern Idaho. The city of Coeur d'Alene is on the north end of Lake Coeur d'Alene, a big, clear, scenic mountain lake. We spent the whole day here walking around a festival going on in town, eating on the beach, hiking, and even got in some pull-ups and dips on a playground in town. Along with some interesting looks from people walking by. We spent the rest of the night at a rest station, and the next stop was Seattle. Now I know I only went over a few of the highlights on our way out to Seattle, but there just isn't enough time to cover everything. The days spent in Seattle and on the drive back were just as eventful. It was really amazing how much we experienced for such little cost. The whole trip only cost about $300 to $400, and the biggest cost was gas, but thankfully we had a fuel-efficient car and gas was only about $2.80 that summer. We also grocery shopped rather than eating out, which saved us a lot of money and allowed us to get healthier food. We ate mainly canned tuna, salmon, fruits, veggies, sandwiches, milk, and hard-boiled eggs. There are many vacations that I could have talked about for this speech, but this one, being so simple, rugged, and adventurous, stood out to make the best story. St. Augustine said, "The world is a book, and those that do not travel read only a page." I hope you enjoyed my tale, and I suspect that it got you wanting to go on the road trip yourselves. Thank you.
Very good.
Great.